Welcome to the Creative Blood Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the minds and hearts of the artists, visual innovators, and all-round creative legends navigating this crazy but brilliant world of creativity. Today, we have a truly brilliant guest in the house. She's currently playing the lead role of Detective Sergeant Jen Townsend in the ITV drama The Bay, but you'll also know her from multiple iconic network television and Hollywood studio hits, including White Collar, Las Vegas, the absolutely iconic Lost, Black Knight, and The Haunted Mansion, where she played Eddie Murphy's wife, to name drop just a few. I'm talking about and to the one and only actor Marsha Thomason. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nice one.
Did I hear you say legends?
Of course I did.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, just take it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, listen, I know there's always so much more to say. You've got a list of credits literally as long as the M6.
I know that journey very well.
Brilliant. Okay, good. So it meant something.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah.
But let's crack on, because there's a really specific reason I wanted to have you on the show. Essentially, you've made the journey that a lot of creative minds and makers that we meet here at Creative Blood feel compelled to make. And that's one that involves taking such a huge leap of faith, leaving homes, friends, family, this side of the pond, to seek out the arguably, and it is arguable for so many different reasons, the much bigger professional opportunities to really scale careers in the creative industries in the US. But obviously, we know that it's a risky business, right?
Yeah.
I've done it myself and lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all that bad. It was bloody amazing. And of course, you've done it and you've thrived and you're there and you're doing it. And my understanding is that you've been there for like the last 20 odd years.
Yeah, a long time.
That is a long time. I did 5 for some context.
Right.
And so I just thought like there's loads of things to chat about, you know, arriving somewhere new, creating network, being a new face in a new town, creating opportunities, chutzpah, and where it can get you.
I love that word.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great word.
You know the Masterclass series?
Yeah.
Usher has a section on chutzpah.
Oh,
And I was just like, of course you do.
yeah.
Because this business is all about that in so many ways, you know?
It requires it, for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're from Manchester,
Yeah.
living in Los Angeles, and then you come back to shoot, is it Morecambe Bay?
So the Bay shoots in Morecambe Bay, but primarily in Manchester. So we're mostly in Manchester, which has been great for me.
I'm a real fan of the show, genuinely.
Oh,
I absolutely love it. I've bashed through it like in, 2 nights.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm one of those, but it feels like an amazing group of people. It feels really like natural. I can't explain it. It feels true, you know?
It makes me happy that that comes across because we genuinely have become family.
Yeah.
You know, Erin Shanahan and I have become so close. She plays Karen, my partner.
Yes. Okay.
We've become very close. It's been a real gift that I've been able to take from the show. The 4 of us, we just have such a laugh. And even the actors that come in, because I feel like when people come to a set, they assess the tone. And the tone is we're having a great time. We're having a lot of banter. The subject matter is really serious, but we laugh a lot between the work itself. And so the people that come in feed off of that as well, and they bring that energy also.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really delightful job, and getting to come back to Manchester. And it's been a very, very special moment for me. You list those different things I've done, the different projects I've worked on, and there are certain ones that are elevated that mean more, and this is one of them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When we originally met each other and we had this call, we were laughing about those cultural differences between being on set in the US and being on set in the UK.
Well, let me say this.
Go on.
In the UK, it's very civilized. If you're supposed to wrap at 7 p.m., you wrap at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And that, chef's kiss, love that. In America, you just keep going. So you start on a Monday and say you're supposed to wrap at 8 o'clock, but you wrap at 9.
Yeah.
So then you start work later on the Tuesday, and then you go later and later and later until you're working Friday night, and then they call it a Fraturday because you're in Saturday morning. So that's one of the things I absolutely love about working back in the UK. Versus America. But then you've got the craft services situation. which,
Oh,
I mean...
I think we've got to be loud and proud about this.
Listen, when I came to America, and obviously my first 2 American experiences were big, big movies. So the craft service, oh my God. I mean, you know, their job is craft service. So it's not just, you know, that the caterers bring an urn of tea and a packet of soggy biscuits at 4 p.m. like they do in the UK. It's, you know, they're making sandwiches. It's a truck. You go on there. It's like a deli.
Every kind of treat, every immune system booster.
Yes.
They got it all.
All the things. And so it just is like, so then I come back to England and it's like, oh man. So on the bay, I was able to be like, you know, so they would go to Marks and Spencer and they would get us loads of fruit.
Like the pre-chopped.
The pre-chopped. We had like a mini craft service. But that was just for the actors. The poor crew were still on their own, you know.
Soggy biscuits and like cold tea.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
And obviously, like, it's a different light, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different temperature. Do you feel those differences when you come back now? You know, in the Bay, you're in a coat.
Oh, mate.
You got thermal.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing, I've always been soft. You know, they always joke to me on the sets when I'm back in England, oh, you've become soft. No, I was always soft. I'm Jamaican. I remember being on the set of Where the Heart Is. We were shooting at night in Huddersfield by a lake, and I was so cold. Maybe it was that moment that I manifested California, because I was like, this is bullshit.
I heard Oprah Winfrey in an interview herself be asked, what's the common thread between all the people that she's met and interviewed over the years? How is it that they got where they wanted to go? She said, people get to where they want to go because they know where they want to go.
People get to where they want to go because they know where they want to go. Is that what it was?
Yes. Did you know where you wanted to go?
Yes, I did know where I wanted to go, but I don't think I've even gotten there yet, honestly.
Okay.
I also think there's something to be said for very successful people like our Oprah, who have achieved all the things. I think it's very easy to sit in that position, having, you know, obviously immense talent, but it's not just talent, it's talent and preparation and then a sprinkle of good luck.
Yeah.
I do feel like there are plenty of people who have strived and endeavored to make things happen, whether it's creatively in business or whatever, and they knew where they wanted to go and they didn't get there, and they didn't not get there because they didn't do the work or because they weren't. Sometimes it really just is that they didn't get sprinkled with the good fortune. You know, they did all the other stuff and then that piece didn't work. So I don't know. I struggle with those kinds of statements. But yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be an actor from before I even knew. I remember watching an episode of Dynasty and Jeff, I mean, of all things, right? But I really remember this. Yeah. Jeff, one of the characters on the show, someone was in hospital and I was watching this scene. I don't even know what it was about this scene or why Jeff and Dynasty did it for me, but I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do. I mean, I must have been about 7? I don't know. And they have to learn those lines and how do they do that? And what does that mean? And can I do that? Oh, that seems scary. But I really remember having this weird moment with Dynasty and Jeff.
I mean, talk about throwback. And that is quite a moment then where you're a bit like, how do I get there? Or how do I do that?
I mean, when I was 7, there was nothing more than I want to do that. I didn't think about how I was going to get there because when you're a kid, you don't know what you don't know. So I didn't even have the wherewithal to think, how could I possibly accomplish this thing? I have no connections to the entertainment industry. Like how, you know?
Yeah. I hope you don't mind me interjecting here for a second. We've been squirreling away on something special, like really special. It's our new audio-visual series of shorts called Talking Pictures, where you'll find visual artists sharing their rare and raw untold stories from behind the lens.
I saw these cowboys from across the field, and
I had not shot an image that I loved after becoming a dad summer 2021.
With each episode less than a minute long, it's about connecting artistry and heart to encourage a pause.
The chip siding and the cracks in the cement are a lot like the wrinkles on my mom's face.
We hope you love it as much as we do.
Talking pictures.
Okay, let's get back to the episode. What was your upbringing like? Was it in any way sort of Hollywood?
Oh, gosh, no. No. I grew up in a very working class area of North Manchester, called Moston. Neither of my parents were in the industry. Like, no, not even a bit showbiz, which is, again, that thing of chutzpah, right? Because, like, the audacity to think that how am I even going to navigate getting into this industry? But no, my upbringing was very far from Hollywood or London, even from the BBC.
Yeah.
But I think it was, that I was always performing, always putting on shows, driving my little sister crazy. And then my mum took me to a theatre, Oldham Theatre Workshop, which I went there from being about 11.
Yeah.
And that was what changed everything. And I became very, very, very thespy.
What does thespy mean to you? I'd just be really interested because it's like a term that people sort of like chuck around as a bit of a cuss.
Yeah, well, I take it as a badge of honor. Somebody who wants to entertain. But, I think precocious is another word when you're that age.
But that's the chutzpah. So we're back there already. We started there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think casting agents would come to Theatre Workshop to audition kids to be on TV shows. So a lot of the kids were on Children's Ward. It was my big desire to be on Children's Ward. I never achieved that.
Okay.
Coronation Street, all these shows in the North. They would come there to audition. So, yeah, we were all a bunch of little thespians running around Oldham of all places.
Amazing.
And then I got a part on the 8:15 from Manchester, which the Inspiral Carpets did the theme tune, which was iconic at the time. I mean, this is the 90s. The 8:15 from Manchester. Na, 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 na. It was so good.
Amazing.
I felt very cool. So it was a Saturday morning kids show, and then they had a segment on it called In Their Shoes, and it was these dramas, and every week they had a different cast. And my one was with Gemma Wardle, who went on to great success in the West End. She was in Les Mis for years, and has the most incredible voice.
Show.
But the two of us, I know, goosebumps, right? But the two of us, we played Marsha and Gemma. A stretch, and we were both track stars at school, and she started smoking, and I said, Gemma, when did you start smoking? I mean, honestly, my voice is so high. Only dogs could hear me. And then at the end of every episode, there'd be a dilemma. And the dilemma is, should Gemma admit that they're hers? Should she say that they're mine? And then there was a third one that I don't remember. And then there'd be 3 phone numbers, and the audience would call in for the one that they think was the correct ending, what they think should happen. We filmed all 3, and then they would air it. And so we did that. And then the following year, they principal cast of 5. Same concept, the dilemmas every week, but with a cast of 5 that were in every episode. And then other actors would come in, all from Oldham Theatre Workshop again. And I was in that cast of 5. So I did that. It's crazy because I missed a lot of school when I did that. And I was 15. And it was important. It was GCSEs. I did not do very well in my GCSEs. There were no on-set tutors. There was I just was pulled out of school and, catch up, figure it out. I think about that now when I'm on sets with kids and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because that's like a whole thing, isn't it? It's like you have to have licensed chaperones.
But it was a different time.
Yeah, totally different time.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're jumping, but from that experience, what was that catalyst moment to Los Angeles?
I started working in the UK, playing the field where the heart is, all sorts of things. And I had absolutely no desire or ambition to go to America. I mean, I'm not saying I said no to it, but it wasn't something I was thinking about. I'm 25 at that point. So I've been working a long time. Things were building really nicely in the UK, and I was happy with the way things were growing. I think I'd made my first British film, Long Time Dead, and then I got this audition for this big American film. And I don't know if I'd had any auditions for American films prior to that, and I got it. And so then I got to go to America. It was very exciting.
Did you send in a tape, or did you have to go out and audition in person?
No, people weren't sending tapes then. It just was not done.
Right.
I went and auditioned in person. I think maybe only once. It all happened very quickly.
Yeah.
And then I went out to shoot it. It was incredible. And that was when things changed,
What was the film?
Black Knight.
You shoot that, you come back, and obviously things are kicking off. That opportunity has just opened up doors.
It was tricky, actually, Laura, because
Yeah.
Black Knight came out in November 2001. So it was just 2 months
Yeah.
after 9/11.
Right.
So people were not in the mood for movies. The movie
Right.
didn't do very well. The movie has had a great life. It's on TV all the time still. And to a lot of people, it's a movie that, there's nothing like a grown man coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, I've loved you since I was a kid watching Black Knight." I'm like, but you're a fully grown man. How is that even possible? But initially, it wasn't particularly well received. And so actually, timing. Exactly. So it was a bit of a disappointment, actually. And there was a period of years where I didn't work in the US.
Yep.
And I was still living in the UK. So again, most of the opportunities were in the UK. Then I got the Haunted Mansion audition.
Right.
I was very fortunate because shooting Black Knight, I became really good friends with a lot of the crew, costume, makeup, and they all lived in LA. So when I started to come to LA, they were here. So I didn't feel lost. I felt very secure in Los Angeles. They, would tell me where to go, what to do. I would print out my map quests, with my directions of where I needed to go. And then I shot The Haunted Mansion in 2003. Still a UK resident.
Wowzers. What's that like?
Obviously it was very exciting, but Black Knight was the most exciting moment because America called, and it was Martin Lawrence, who was a big star, and listen, I was thrilled. Eddie Murphy, are you kidding me? I mean,
Are you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
At that stage in your career as well,
Yeah.
like in terms of like landing films then and there with those guys.
Yes. Yeah, it was really exciting. And, while I was shooting that, it shot in Los Angeles and it was just, I had a driver. It was really the way you think about Hollywood. It was Hollywood with a capital H. I mean,
Amazing.
It was just a glorious time. I loved it. The weather, the sun was shining on me. They got this convertible Chrysler that I was driving around, just living the life. I was having a great time. And I became a little panicked, actually, because I still lived in England. And I didn't necessarily want to go back, to live. It was a big moment.
Yeah.
I had a moment in the mirror. I was getting ready for a night out. And I thought, I don't want to leave. This is where I want to live. And, I was on a visa for the film. Like, I can't just live here. But I got really lucky again because I got an audition for a pilot for a show called Las Vegas, and it got picked up. And the Haunted Mansion gave me the time to go and shoot the pilot in the shoot. The schedule, they moved the schedule and let me go and shoot this pilot. And at the time, I wasn't aware of how significant that is. And these producers on the Haunted Mansion did that for me. And I was able to go, and the show got picked up, and they got me a visa, and then I lived in Los Angeles, and I've never gone back.
Amazing.
And that's what happened.
So that was the passing of the baton, the support. Yeah. These are all the networks that you sort of build.
Yeah.
I would also say, I remember seeing your face when I said about that Oprah thing, so you're going to hate this one even more, but I was just thinking to myself, basically, good things happen to good people. That sentiment of, I think they do. I tell you why, because I don't believe that those producers on The Haunted Mansion would have done that for everyone, no matter what. It would have been what you were bringing onto set, to those crews and that sort of energy, Do you know what I mean?
No. Listen, Laura, you're right, and I agree with you. The thing is, yes, good things happen to good people, but also bad things happen to good people. So
totally. I don't wish to sound naive. Forgive me. I didn't mean it like that. I just think sometimes I feel like there is an element of what we bring that we don't always recognise.
Yeah.
Of why certain doors open.
Yeah.
I think that's more. But I totally understand. I mean, it is competitive on a whole nother level.
Yeah. I mean, I think I come from resilient stock.
Yeah.
My mum had things that she had to overcome in her childhood. Same with my dad. I think, I'm from a working class family. Listen, this is what I've always done. I fell into it as a kid, and this is how I've been fortunate enough to make my living. This is what I do. So for me, actually, it's not even an option to, curl up in a ball. And listen, I'm not going to say that there haven't been times where I have curled up in a ball, but then I uncurl and I get
join
back,
the club.
Right? I mean, all of us. But then I get back up because this is what I do. And I also have self-belief. I believe in myself. I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I should be able to keep on doing it. And so I don't know, I just keep on going.
I don't know how it is for you. I know that obviously, you know, auditioning and calls and just like right place, right time, all those things that we mentioned, they can turn on a dime.
100%.
So you've got to sort of stay in that headspace almost and find ways to make that gear switch in a moment, you know?
Yeah.
We don't know who we're going to meet down at Gelson's. No. Do you know what I mean? What do you think about the power of being delusional?
I think it's very powerful.
Delulu. Is that what they call it? Delulu.
Yeah. The odds are so stacked against you to achieve anything, you know. That you have to delude yourself into thinking, well, I know that there are thousands, millions who didn't succeed at this very same thing, but I think I can.
Okay, so you're in Los Angeles and you're trying to find your people, you know, like you say, sort of cast, crew. You've got relationships that have been built over certain projects and, you know, over some time. But ultimately, you know, everyone's busy and everyone's got their own, you know, moments of needing to get stuff done. Yeah. So how did you go about sort of creating a network for yourself? Like a trusted, like an LA family sort of thing.
Well, that takes time.
Yeah.
You got to put yourself out there. You got to go to the parties. Okay. You got to, you know, shake hands.
You got to drive.
You got to drive. You got to do classes. You got to, you know, be friendly. You know, you got to just be open. Truth be told, you know, that I've lived here a long time, and there are two friends who I was friends with 22 years ago when I got here. Yeah. One French, one English. And we're still very, very good friends. Yeah. And then there are those people who, you know, they're competitive. It's great when you're both successful on a show, and then when you're both not on a show and you're competing for roles, they start acting weird. So, like, I've definitely had friends come and go. For sure. Yeah. Also, you know, I met my husband. We've been together over 15 years. So that was very anchoring. Yeah. He's from Manchester also. I imported him in.
Imported? Where did you meet him?
I met him in Belfast on a job. It was a TV show. It was called Messiah. And actually, Dan Ryan, that is in The Bay with me, he also was on that. On The Bay, Dan plays my boss. He plays Manning.
I know exactly who you mean.
Yes. I flew from Hawaii to Belfast. That is a journey. I was doing Lost. Yeah. And then like about 50 planes later, I arrived in Belfast. And they'd already been shooting for about a week. And I was on the dining bus for breakfast, and I heard all these Mancunian voices. And I said, "Are you guys from Manchester?" And it was the lighting team. And my husband was there, and he's very good looking. He definitely stood out. And I said to him, "Are you City or United?" And he said, "I'm United." And I said, "Well, this is never going to work."
Got ya.
Yeah, famous last words. And so we've been together basically ever since.
Amazing. So he's part of the lighting crew?
Yes. Yeah, now he has an event lighting company. They do parties, you know, premieres, the HBO Emmy party, you know, things like that. Yeah. And the red carpets, that's what he does now.
And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that, you know, cast and crew don't get together. What I'm saying is that you have to be open to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes there's sort of like that weird sort of hierarchy that happens. Yeah. Like, you eat there, we eat here, sort of thing.
A lot of actors are arseholes, truth be told. And I'll be honest with you, you know, when I got to the set of Black Knight, I remember the crew, and a number of them came to me at a certain point and they said, "You're delightful." Like this, because it was evident. And listen, I've worked on a lot of American jobs since then, and I see lots of American actors being wonderful with the crew and having friendships and all the rest of it. But it's always kind of, you know, oh, what kind of actor are they going to be? Are they down with the crew or not, kind of thing? Yeah. And they were delighted by, you know, it's a collaboration. We're all in it together. I love being on a set. I love actors and I love the crew, you know. Yeah. To me, so you're right. I mean, it's just about being open, and it was easy to be open because he's good looking. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have a little fling with this one, perhaps. You know, that's what I thought.
Now you're a family living in LA together. Yeah. So, you know, we're talking about chutzpah. There we go. It comes out in all shapes and sizes.
Totally.
Let's talk about working with talent that you feel like 1 minute I was sort of watching them on screen and now I'm next to them we all look to people in and around the world that we're playing in, and we wonder sort of like how they do it, or wonder what they are like to collaborate with. And then all of a sudden you're in the room with them.
Yeah, totally. With what I do, there was a moment on the set of Lost. So I'd already worked on it for about maybe a week or two, but I'd been with the same 5 actors. And I definitely, had a moment with them, like, wow, it's you guys. And because I was a fan of Lost and I joined in the 3rd season. And, but there was a very specific moment. I had a big scene in the tent with Saeed, played by Naveen Andrews, who's also British, right? And we're in the middle of this scene and he's talking to me. And suddenly I'm just going, oh my God, I'm on Lost. This is Saeed. You're Naveen. He stopped talking and it was me. And I did not share that that's what had been going on. We had to cut, no doubt. But I just had this moment of like, wow.
Yeah.
With something like that, you get thrown straight in because they're already shooting. With Haunted Mansion, we had a time of rehearsal, so I got to hang out. So by the time we were shooting, I was already used to being around Eddie and Terence Stamp. I mean, wow.
Unbelievable.
Whether it's somebody behind the scenes or in front, just find a way in. Be authentic. I've always been authentic, and that's really served me well. I remember Eddie Murphy being like, was very amused by me because I just was this.
Yeah.
And I would give him shit, just banter. I was just me. We're all just people.
It's so underrated. Totally.
And also, the more successful people become, the less people treat them authentically.
Which is why they love it, and they're so amused when those who are around them.
I had the same experience with LL Cool J when I was working on NCIS. I just was...
Amazing.
Just banter. There was another a brilliant series, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called Better Things. And Pamela Adlon is the creator of the show, the star of the show.
She and that show are like something else. Tell me everything.
I was a fan of that show. I'd watched it for the first 2 seasons and just loved it so very much. And, she's an auteur. She's doing all of it.
So clever. Oh my God.
And so what a gift. So I auditioned for it and it came through very last minute and I had to go the next day. But they said, we're not sending you the material. So there's nothing to learn. They're going to give it to you when you get there. And I was like, do I need to be American? Do I need to be English? Like, what am I? They said, just do your own accent. It's fine. So I get there. They give me the sides. I go in. I'm just reading with casting. Pamela isn't there. And I get the job. And it's to play in the 3rd season. Pam's character is working on a movie and I play an agent of one of the other actors in the movie. And I've never been on a set like it. She is in charge, right? But she is a mother. She's brilliant. Like, she takes care of everyone, but she gets what she wants and she's clear and she's the boss and everybody respects her, but she's kind. I've never seen so many women on a set in all positions, and she is bringing people up and elevating people. And it was remarkable. And so we would shoot scenes together and she'd be directing me and in the scenes. It was just brilliant to see somebody doing so much at that level. She's excellent.
Wow. Yeah. And for you, had you ever been on a set with so many women before?
Absolutely
not.
Because
that's sort of a mandate by a director, isn't it? Essentially, a writer-director.
Yeah.
It's like that's something very deliberate.
And I'm trying to remember what year it was I did this. It was before the pandemic, 7 years ago, I would say. And I remember thinking, I didn't even know there were women that did that job because I'd never seen a woman holding the boom, and the entire sound department. And I'm trying to think now. I definitely have seen more women in those positions since then, but that was the first time. It wasn't even that long ago. And I said to Pam, I was like, this is remarkable. I didn't even know women did these jobs. And then I'm thinking, well, so these women are trained for these jobs. Where have they been working then? Because I've not been seeing them on sets. So, I mean, what the fuck's that about? But yeah, I mean, you got to be the change that you want to see, right? And she did it on that set.
Totally. Totally. Is that something that has sort of struck you that hasn't been a repeat experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see more women on the crew on sets, but not like that. Not, I mean, it was just, women everywhere. It was incredible. And it was a very happy, productive environment.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
I just want to see more women everywhere, really. And people of color, all of it. All of it.
So, Marsha, you mentioned earlier that you had...
Wait, let's just pause for 1 second. That's really weird. Felt almost like banging.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna look outside real quick.
Check if there's like earthquake or something.
Oh, maybe it was an earthquake. We've been having a few, Just 1 sec. Should I Google it?
Yeah, have a look just for yourself.
Earthquake, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think it might have been an earthquake. Let's just move on.
Really?
I think maybe I'll...
This is a very LA moment. Okay, so Marsha,
Yes.
you mentioned earlier that you hadn't got where you wanted to go to yet. Can you share what that is for you?
I've done a lot of really great work and, people have seen it, but I would like to be on something that's like just an unequivocal smash that pays me lots of money, that gives me all the things. I want all the things. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest. Yeah. I want to be on something that fulfills me. Everybody agrees is good.
Sort of like a cultural legacy.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to have been on The Sopranos, right?
Yeah.
But you want to be one of the actors that made bank also on The Sopranos. Like, this is a business.
Yeah.
This is my contribution to our family. I'm always worried that I'm going to lose everything because I built a life, very removed, not just in distance, Boston to Hollywood, but also, the growth of that. And I'm always worried that that's going to go away. I can't help it, but it would feel really nice to be on something that like has a bit more of a stronger foundation. And I think, any actor I talk to feels the same way, honestly.
Totally. Really appreciate being able to have this conversation openly. Everything you're saying is not only totally reasonable, but like you say, said every artist ever.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to love what I do and be paid for it.
Of course. I feel a bit embarrassed saying it, but that's what it is. That's what it is.
Put your American hat on. That's what I would say.
Exactly.
I remember reading, I think, that you have a tattoo.
Oh, embrace the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. My glass is always half empty. That's who I am, naturally. But, I have to work on that. I definitely come from a place of fear and negativity. I do. I can't help it. And I had a boyfriend when I was young, 19 or whatever, and he said to me, Marsha, and he is somebody who always life is good, everything's going to be fine. I was very attracted to that. And he said, you just got to embrace the chaos, man. And I was like, ooh, it's the first time I'd ever heard that. I was like, you're right. I do. Yeah. And then many years later, I was in a slow moment in my career and I was feeling a bit down on things here in America. And I went and got it tattooed on my wrist. And I recently, it started to look like smudge. And I very recently got it redone. So now it reads beautifully and it looks great.
I want to do a bit of a quick fire round, okay? Because I want to get a little bit Hollywood on you. Is that cool?
Okay.
Okay, so the idea is to answer in as few words as possible, just really instinctive.
Okay.
Right. Best on-screen kiss you've ever had?
Oh, my God. I mean, I know who it is. I'm just not going to say it out loud.
Okay, right, cool. Moving on.
Also, you have to remember, I'm friends with the partners of these people that I've been kissing on set.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. You could, okay, perfect answer. The role that got away.
Oh, so many. Next.
Okay. TV or film?
TV.
When I'm starstruck, I...
make jokes.
If I wasn't an actor, I'd be...
struggling.
My Desert Island book, because I know you're a big, big book nut. Desert Island book. You only get one. Sorry, I feel like I'm really stressing you out.
No, you're not stressing me out. It's just there's so many of them and I read so many that I can never remember. A Gentleman in Moscow by Immortals, which I read this past year.
Thank you. My biggest LA secret is...
Take DeLong Prey. Everybody says take Fountain. Mm-mm.
I used to live on DeLong Prey.
That's good.
I'm telling you, it changed my life.
Take DeLong Prey.
DeLong Prey. So good. So good. Okay, I'm all in on that. Okay. I'd never be on set without...
A book.
My latest cultural obsession is...
Paradise. It's that new show.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's on Hulu over here, so maybe it's on Disney over there. It's got Sterling K. Brown in it, and it's by the creator of This Is Us. It's great.
Oh, wow. Oh, This Is Us.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a real pleasure to have such a genuine, true, honest, transparent and timely conversation.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time, and I really appreciate the chat. Genuinely.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wicked. What's the rest of the day looking like? What happens next?
What happens next is I'm going to go to the gym. Then I'm going to put something on tape.
Yes.
Then I'm going to...
If you enjoyed this episode, don't miss a single drop by subscribing and following the Creative Blood podcast. You can also head over to creativeblood.com, where you'll find even more inspiration from pioneering creative disruptors in fashion, music, film, art and entertainment. Let's get all these conversations out there and shared with fellow creatives. These episodes were crafted by the brilliant humans at Creative Blood and Scenery Studios. Thanks for listening.